Have you noticed changes in your feet that seem small at first but never really go away? Maybe your feet feel numb from time to time. Perhaps a small cut takes much longer to heal than it used to. Or maybe your feet often feel cold even when the rest of your body feels perfectly comfortable. Most people assume these changes are simply part of getting older. After all, aging affects every part of the body. We may move a little slower than we once did. We may need more time to recover after physical activity. We may notice more aches and pains than we did years ago. Because these changes happen gradually, it's easy to assume they're normal. And sometimes they are. One condition that often sends those messages through the feet is diabetes. Many people think diabetes always announces itself with obvious symptoms, such as excessive thirst, frequent urination, or sudden weight loss. But that's not always true. In fact, some people live with elevated blood sugar for years without realizing it. During that time, damage may begin to develop throughout the body. The nerves may begin to suffer, blood vessels may become less efficient, circulation may gradually weaken, and one of the first places where these changes often appear is in the feet. Why? Because the feet rely heavily on healthy nerves and healthy blood flow. They are located farther from the heart than most parts of the body, and they contain thousands of tiny nerve endings that help you feel temperature, pressure, pain, and movement. When diabetes begins affecting the body, these delicate structures are often among the first to show signs of trouble. Unfortunately, many people ignore those warning signs. They blame age, they blame old shoes, they blame spending too much time standing, they blame arthritis. And while those explanations may sometimes be correct, they can also cause people to overlook a potentially serious health condition. The good news is that recognizing these symptoms early may help you seek medical advice sooner. Early detection can make a tremendous difference. It may help protect your nerves, blood vessels, kidneys, eyes, heart, and overall quality of life. Today, we'll discuss 9 foot signs that could be linked to hidden diabetes after age 60. Having one symptom does not automatically mean you have diabetes. Many other conditions can cause similar symptoms. However, if several of these signs appear together, especially if they persist or worsen over time, they deserve attention. Let's begin with one of the most common warning signs: numbness or loss of feeling. One of the earliest and most common signs of diabetes-related nerve damage is numbness in the feet. Many people struggle to describe exactly what it feels like. It's not always complete loss of feeling. Instead, it often begins as a subtle change. You may notice that your feet simply don't feel the same as they once did. Perhaps the floor doesn't feel as distinct beneath your feet. Maybe your toes feel slightly dull. Some people describe the sensation as feeling like they're wearing thick socks even when they're barefoot. Others say their feet feel padded or disconnected from the ground. At first, these changes can be so mild that they're easy to ignore. You may notice them only occasionally, perhaps while getting out of bed, or while walking across a hard floor. Because the symptoms often develop gradually, they rarely trigger immediate concern. But over time, the numbness may become more noticeable. Simple sensations that once felt normal begin to fade, and that's where problems can begin. The reason numbness occurs is often related to damage affecting the nerves. High blood sugar can slowly injure nerves throughout the body. This condition is known as diabetic neuropathy. The nerves in the feet are especially vulnerable because they are among the longest nerves in the body. Long nerves require constant nourishment from healthy blood vessels. When blood sugar remains elevated for years, those nerves may be damaged. As the damage progresses, the ability to feel normal sensations decreases. This creates risks that many people don't immediately recognize. For example, imagine stepping on a small object. Normally, pain would alert you immediately. You would remove the object and avoid injury. But if sensation is reduced, you may not notice the problem right away. The same thing can happen with blisters. A new pair of shoes may rub against your skin. Without normal sensation, you may not feel the irritation until significant damage has already occurred. This is one reason healthcare providers encourage people with diabetes to inspect their feet regularly. Small injuries that go unnoticed can sometimes develop into larger problems. Numbness may also affect balance. Many people don't realize how much they depend on sensation from their feet. Every step you take sends information from your feet to your brain. That information helps maintain stability. When sensation decreases, balance may become less reliable. Some people begin feeling unsteady while walking. Others become more cautious because they no longer trust their footing. Falls become more likely, and for older adults, falls can lead to serious injuries. If you've noticed numbness that continues to worsen or occurs frequently, it's worth discussing with a healthcare professional. It may not be diabetes. Other conditions can also affect nerves, but ongoing numbness should never be automatically dismissed as simply getting older. Your feet may be trying to tell you something important. Tingling or burning sensations. While some people experience numbness, others experience the opposite. Instead of losing sensation, they develop uncomfortable sensations that seem to appear for no obvious reason. One of the most common is tingling. Many people describe it as pins and needles. It may feel similar to the sensation you experience when your foot falls asleep and begins waking up again. The difference is, it happens repeatedly. Sometimes the tingling comes and goes. Sometimes it remains for hours. And for some people, it becomes a daily occurrence. The sensation often starts in the toes. Over time, it may spread throughout the foot. In some cases, it gradually moves upward into the ankles and lower legs. A burning sensation is another common complaint. People often describe it in remarkably similar ways. Some say their feet feel hot even when they're cool to the touch. Others describe a feeling similar to walking on hot pavement. Some feel as though their feet are being exposed to heat despite sitting comfortably indoors. These symptoms are often most noticeable at night. During the day, distractions may make them easier to ignore, but when everything becomes quiet at bedtime, the sensations can feel much stronger. Many people report difficulty falling asleep because of tingling or burning feet. Others wake up repeatedly throughout the night. Poor sleep then creates additional problems. Fatigue increases, energy levels decrease, mood may suffer, daily activities become more difficult. Over time, quality of life can decline significantly. Why do these sensations occur? The answer again involves nerve damage. Healthy nerves transmit accurate information to the brain. Damaged nerves sometimes send signals that don't match reality. The brain receives messages suggesting heat, tingling, discomfort, or pain, even when no actual injury exists. This can be frustrating because there may be no visible sign of a problem. The feet may appear perfectly normal, yet the sensations remain very real. Some people assume poor circulation is causing the burning. Others think it's related to aging. Still others blame fatigue. While many explanations are possible, persistent burning or tingling deserves attention. It's particularly important if it's accompanied by other symptoms, such as numbness, slow healing wounds, or changes in skin appearance. The earlier nerve problems are identified, the greater the opportunity to slow further damage. Ignoring symptoms often allows them to worsen over time. If your feet frequently tingle, burn, or feel unusually uncomfortable, consider discussing it with a healthcare provider. Those sensations may be more than a simple inconvenience. They may be an early warning sign. 3. Cuts and blisters that heal slowly. Think back to when you were younger. A small scrape might have disappeared within a few days. A blister would heal quickly and become little more than a memory. As we age, healing naturally slows down somewhat. That's a normal part of life. However, diabetes can slow the healing process much more than normal aging alone. Many people first notice this after a minor foot injury. Perhaps a blister develops from walking. Maybe a small cut occurs while trimming nails. Perhaps a scrape appears after bumping into something. At first, the injury seems minor, but days pass, then weeks, and the wound still hasn't healed. This happens because healing depends heavily on circulation. Blood delivers oxygen, nutrients, immune cells, and repair materials to damaged tissue. When blood flow is reduced, healing becomes slower and less efficient. High blood sugar can gradually damage blood vessels. As circulation weakens, the body struggles to repair injuries as effectively as it once did. Even minor wounds may linger. This is especially concerning in the feet. Feet experience constant pressure from standing and walking. That pressure can make healing more challenging. If a wound remains open, the risk of infection increases. What begins as a small problem can become much more serious. One common mistake is assuming a wound will eventually heal on its own. Sometimes it does, but sometimes delayed healing is a warning sign that something deeper is happening. Pay attention to recurring patterns. Do small injuries consistently take longer to heal? Do blisters seem to linger for weeks? Do cuts remain visible far longer than expected? These observations may provide valuable information about your overall health. Another important factor is sensation. If numbness is also present, you may not notice injuries immediately. A blister may worsen before you realize it exists. A small wound may become larger before receiving attention. This combination of reduced sensation and slower healing creates a situation that deserves careful monitoring. Daily foot checks can be extremely helpful. Many healthcare professionals recommend taking a few moments each day to examine your feet. Look for cuts, look for redness, look for swelling, look for areas that seem different than usual. These simple habits may help identify problems early. Slow healing doesn't automatically mean diabetes is present. Other circulation issues can produce similar symptoms. However, repeated slow healing should never be ignored. It may be your body's way of signaling that further evaluation is needed. Frequent foot infections. Most people experience an occasional infection at some point in life, but when infections become frequent or keep returning despite treatment, it's important to pay attention. Diabetes can affect the immune system in several ways. When blood sugar remains elevated for long periods, the body's ability to fight infection may become less effective. As a result, bacteria and fungi sometimes find it easier to grow and spread. The feet are particularly vulnerable. Warm and closed shoes can create an environment where microorganisms thrive. Small cuts or cracks in the skin can provide entry points. Reduced circulation can make it harder for immune cells to reach affected areas. Together, these factors increase the likelihood of infection. One common example is fungal infections between the toes. The skin may become itchy, irritated, or flaky. Some people notice persistent redness. Others experience cracking that keeps returning despite treatment. Toenail fungus is another frequent concern. The infection may seem minor at first, but it often becomes stubborn and difficult to eliminate completely. Many people find themselves treating the same problem repeatedly. If foot infections continue returning despite good hygiene and proper care, it may be worth considering whether an underlying condition is contributing. Diabetes is one possibility that should not be overlooked. The challenge is that infections often begin small. A little redness may not seem important. A minor crack in the skin may appear harmless. A small area of irritation may seem easy to ignore, but small problems can sometimes become larger problems surprisingly quickly. This is why regular foot inspections are so valuable. The sooner an infection is identified, the easier it often is to treat. Pay attention to warning signs such as redness, swelling, warmth, tenderness, drainage, persistent itching, skin breakdown. These symptoms don't automatically mean diabetes is present. However, when infections become frequent or unusually difficult to resolve, they deserve further investigation. Your body may be revealing important information about your overall health, and listening to those signals can make a significant difference in preventing more serious complications later. 5. Dry and cracked feet. Dry skin is almost everyone experiences at some point, especially as they get older. The skin naturally becomes thinner and loses some of its ability to retain moisture over time. Because of this, many people assume dry feet are simply another normal part of aging. Sometimes that's true, but when dryness becomes severe, persistent, or leads to cracking, it may be worth taking a closer look. For some people, the first sign is rough skin on the heels. Others notice flaking skin around the toes. Some develop deep cracks that seem to return no matter how often moisturizer is applied. In certain cases, the skin becomes so dry that it feels tight and uncomfortable. Why can diabetes contribute to this problem? The answer involves nerves once again. Healthy nerves help regulate many functions throughout the body, including sweat production. Sweat may not sound important, but it plays a key role in keeping skin properly moisturized. When nerves become damaged, the sweat glands may not function normally. As a result, the skin loses moisture more easily. Over time, dryness increases. The feet become more vulnerable to cracking. At first, a small crack may not seem like a serious problem, but even tiny openings in the skin can create opportunities for bacteria to enter. This increases the risk of infection. For someone with healthy circulation and normal healing ability, a small crack may not cause major concern. For someone experiencing diabetes-related changes, however, even a small opening deserves attention. Many healthcare professionals encourage daily moisturizing of the feet, especially the heels. However, it's important to avoid applying moisturizer between the toes, where excess moisture can encourage fungal growth. Simple habits like these may help protect the skin and reduce the risk of complications. If your feet seem unusually dry despite proper care, or if cracks develop repeatedly, it's worth discussing with a healthcare professional. Dry skin alone doesn't prove diabetes is present, but when combined with other symptoms such as numbness, tingling, or slow healing wounds, it may be another piece of the puzzle. 6. Changes in foot color. Most people don't spend much time looking at the color of their feet, but changes in skin color can sometimes provide important clues about circulation and overall health. Healthy circulation helps deliver oxygen-rich blood throughout the body. When circulation is working properly, the skin typically maintains a healthy and consistent appearance. But when blood flow becomes compromised, changes can occur. Some people notice unusual redness. Others observe areas that appear pale. Some notice a bluish tint. Others discover darker patches that weren't there before. These changes may affect the entire foot or only specific areas. In some cases, the color change appears gradually. In others, it becomes noticeable more suddenly. The challenge is that many different conditions can affect skin color. Circulation problems, vascular disease, infections, and other medical issues may all play a role. Diabetes is just one possibility. However, diabetes can contribute to circulation problems over time. High blood sugar may damage blood vessels and reduce the efficiency of blood flow. When tissues receive less oxygen and fewer nutrients, changes in appearance may occur. You may notice that one foot looks different than the other. You may see patches of discoloration that don't fade, or you may notice skin that seems unusually pale compared to the rest of your body. Paying attention to these changes is important. Your skin often provides visible clues about what's happening beneath the surface. If color changes persist, worsen, or appear alongside symptoms such as numbness, cold feet, or slow healing wounds, they should not be ignored. The goal isn't to become alarmed. The goal is simply awareness. Many serious health problems become easier to manage when they're identified early. Sometimes a quick look at your feet can reveal changes that deserve further evaluation. 7. Feet that always feel cold. Have you ever sat in a warm room while your feet still felt cold? Many older adults experience this. Some keep extra blankets nearby. Others wear thick socks throughout the year. No matter what they do, their feet never seem to warm up. Cold feet can occur for many reasons. Temperature, circulation, medications, and other health conditions may all contribute. But reduced circulation is one of the most common explanations. Blood carries warmth throughout the body. When circulation is healthy, warm blood reaches the feet efficiently. When circulation becomes less effective, the feet may receive less warmth. As a result, they often feel cold. For some people, the sensation is mild. For others, it becomes a daily frustration. They may climb into bed with cold feet every night. They may avoid walking barefoot because their feet feel uncomfortable. Some even notice that only their feet feel cold, while the rest of their body feels perfectly normal.
Diabetes can sometimes contribute to this problem because of its effects on blood vessels. Over time, elevated blood sugar may damage the vascular system. When blood flow decreases, the feet often feel the effects first. The feet are located farthest from the heart, making them particularly sensitive to circulation problems. Cold feet alone do not necessarily indicate diabetes. However, when cold feet occur alongside other symptoms, such as numbness, tingling, slow healing wounds, or skin color changes, they deserve attention. Many people become accustomed to living with cold feet and stop mentioning it to their healthcare providers. But symptoms that persist for months or years should not be automatically dismissed. Sometimes they represent valuable clues about circulation and overall health.
8. Foot pain without a clear cause. Most of us understand pain when it follows an injury. If you twist your ankle, stub your toe, or spend hours on your feet, discomfort makes sense. But what happens when pain appears without an obvious cause? This is another symptom that sometimes occurs with diabetic nerve damage. The pain can take many different forms. Some people describe sharp, stabbing sensations. Others experience aching. Some feel electric shock-like sensations. Others report sudden bursts of discomfort that seem to come from nowhere. One of the most confusing aspects of nerve-related pain is that there may be no visible sign of injury. The foot may look perfectly normal. There may be no swelling, no bruise, no obvious explanation. Yet the pain remains very real. Many people assume the discomfort is simply part of getting older. They attribute it to arthritis or wear and tear. Sometimes they're correct, but not always. Damaged nerves can create unusual pain patterns that don't behave like typical injuries. The pain may worsen at night. It may appear suddenly and disappear just as quickly. It may move from one area to another. It may become more noticeable during periods of rest. These patterns often confuse people because they don't fit the normal expectations of pain. Pain is one of the body's communication tools. It exists for a reason. While not every episode of foot pain indicates diabetes, persistent pain should never be ignored. If discomfort continues without a clear explanation, a medical evaluation may help identify the cause. The earlier problems are identified, the more treatment options are often available. 9. Changes in toenails. Many people rarely think about their toenails unless they become difficult to trim, but toenails can reveal valuable information about overall health. Changes in nail appearance sometimes develop gradually. Because they happen slowly, they're easy to overlook. One common change is thickening. The nails may become harder and more difficult to cut. Some people notice yellow discoloration. Others see white patches or brittle edges. The nails may begin crumbling or breaking more easily than before. In some cases, the shape of the nail changes completely. These symptoms are often linked to fungal infections, and fungal infections tend to become more common when blood sugar remains elevated. Why? Because high blood sugar can weaken the body's ability to control fungal growth. At the same time, circulation problems may make it more difficult to eliminate infections once they begin. The result can be persistent nail problems that repeatedly return. Again, nail changes alone do not prove diabetes is present, but when they occur alongside other symptoms we've discussed today, they become more meaningful. Paying attention to your toenails may seem like a small thing, yet small observations often provide valuable information about overall health.